You know that feeling when the first whispers of a new iPhone start circulating?
Oh,
The
yeah,
anticipation builds, the rumors fly. Well, get ready because the buzz around the next iPhones is already pretty intense.
there really is.
We're diving into what we're hearing about the potential 2025 lineup, specifically the iPhone 17 Pro Max and a device that's really got people talking with that incredibly thin iPhone 17 Air.
It's fascinating, isn't it? Even this far out, the level of scrutiny and like excitement around these rumored devices is, well, it's a real testament to Apple's influence.
Yeah.
People just want to know what's coming next.
You really do.
And the leaks are definitely sparking a lot of discussion worldwide.
Absolutely, and that's precisely why we're here. For this deep dive, we've taken a look at the recent articles and reports, those numerous leak sparking discussions, like you said, to really pull out the core information, the key insights about these potential phones. Our mission is pretty simple. Give you a clear, comprehensive understanding of what might be hitting the market next year without, overwhelming you with every single little rumor.
Exactly. And from what we've gathered, it looks like Apple might be exploring two pretty distinct paths here.
Okay.
On one hand, the iPhone 17 Pro Max, that looks like it's gearing up to be a real powerhouse. Upgrades, performance.
Right.
But then on the other hand, this iPhone 17 Air seems to be focusing on a really radical redesign, aiming for like an unprecedented level of thinness.
Interesting. Okay, let's start with the Pro Max then, the one that sounds like it's packing a serious punch. When might we actually expect to see this phone? And maybe more importantly, what kind of investment are we potentially looking at?
Well, the current thinking from industry insiders, it points to a release in the second half of 2025.
Okay, late next year.
Yeah. As for the price, the information we've seen suggests it's, quote, likely to increase compared to the current models.
Ah, not surprising, I guess.
No, not really. Given the rumored advancements, the new tech, the features, it wouldn't be entirely surprising. But, of course, official pricing is still pending. We won't know for sure for a while.
Right, right.
So if this phone catches your eye, might be a good idea to start planning,
Yeah.
maybe saving accordingly.
Noted. Late 2025, potential price bump. Good to keep in mind. Okay, let's move on to the design then. Cameras are always a major point of interest. What are the whispers telling us about the photography side of the 17 Pro Max?
This is where things get quite interesting. There's talk of a pretty significant overhaul to the camera layout itself.
Oh, really? How so?
So instead of the arrangements we're kind of used to, the rumor is about a horizontally aligned large matrix camera module on the back.
Horizontal. Okay, that's different.
Yeah. And this module is expected to house not just the lenses, but also the LiDAR sensor, a microphone, and the flash, all sort of bundled together.
Huh. Interesting consolidation. What about the lenses themselves? What kind of photographic muscle are we expecting?
Well, the rumors point to a pretty consistent 48-megapixel resolution across all three lenses.
All three. Main, ultra-wide, and telephoto.
Exactly. Main, ultra-wide, and telephoto. That kind of uniformity, well, it could lead to more consistent image quality when you're switching between them, which, would be a real plus for photographers.
Yeah, definitely. No quality drop-off when you zoom or go wide.
Precisely. And the zoom capabilities? They could be reaching new heights. There's speculation about a 7x optical zoom.
7x optical, wow.
And get this, potentially a 100x digital zoom.
Whoa, okay. 100x. That's pretty wild.
It is. The aim, according to the source we looked at, is to provide an exceptional photography experience. I mean, imagine the possibilities with that kind of reach.
Seriously, you'd be getting close-ups of things you didn't even realize were there. What about the overall size, the physical dimensions, the color options we might see? Any clues there?
As of now, the exact dimensions and the specific range of colors, those are still under wraps. But Apple. They typically offer a sleek, premium design, and we can likely expect them to continue providing a selection of colors. Different tastes, different preferences. It's kind of their signature approach.
Right, those signature colors always get people talking. Now, here's a really intriguing rumor I saw. Something about the materials. For the frame, the possibility of switching back to aluminum from titanium? What's the thinking there?
Yeah, that raises a really interesting point about maybe Apple's strategy. This rumored shift to an aluminum frame, it could offer a couple of key advantages.
Like what?
Well, firstly, aluminum generally has a lower carbon footprint in its production compared to titanium. So that could align with, sustainability goals.
That makes sense.
And secondly, it's a lighter material, so that could contribute to a more comfortable feel in your hand.
Yeah.
But here's where it gets really interesting. There's also speculation about kind of hybrid back design.
A hybrid bat, what does that mean exactly?
So the idea being floated is a back panel that's like part aluminum, probably the top section, and part glass for the bottom.
Huh. Aluminum top, glass bottom.
Yeah. And this design could potentially let Apple keep wireless charging, which usually needs that glass back,
Right.
while still getting some benefit from aluminum, like maybe weight reduction, maybe a unique look. Could make it quite distinctive.
That sounds like a pretty clever way to navigate those material trade-offs.
Okay, let's delve into what's powering this potential beast, the chip, the performance. We're expecting the usual generational leap, I assume.
Oh, absolutely. The iPhone 17 Pro Max is expected to get Apple's next-gen chip, the A19 Pro.
A19 Pro.
And what's significant here is the rumor that it's built on TSMC's advanced 3-nanometer process.
3 nanometer. Okay, so what does that mean for, for you using the phone?
Essentially, yeah, that smaller nanometer size lets them pack more transistors onto the chip,
Gotcha.
which generally translates to, noticeable improvements in both speed and energy efficiency. So expect faster performance and potentially better battery life just from the chip itself. Faster and more efficient, always the winning combo. What about memory, RAM, and how it connects to everything, Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, any upgrades there?
Yeah, the rumor mill is suggesting a bump in RAM from 8 GB potentially up to 12 GB.
12 gigs, that's a lot for an iPhone.
It is, and it's expected to be the faster LPDDR5 type of memory. Now, think of RAM as the phone's short-term memory, right?
Right, for multitasking.
Exactly. More of it, especially faster memory, means you can run more apps at once, switch between them more smoothly, less lag.
Nice.
Plus, the phone is anticipated to feature Apple's own, like in-house developed Wi-Fi 7 and Bluetooth chips.
They're on silicon for that too.
Seems like it. Which should mean faster, more stable wireless connections all around.
Okay, more RAM, smoother multitasking, faster connections. Sounds like a solid set of internal upgrades. Finally, let's talk about keeping the lights on. The battery. That's always an area where everyone hopes for improvements.
And this is where things could get quite interesting as well. There's speculation that Apple might be incorporating silicon carbon battery technology.
Silicon carbon. What's the advantage there?
Well, the key benefit of this tech is its potential to store more energy in the same physical space compared to, traditional lithium-ion batteries.
More dense.
Exactly. Higher energy density. So this could let Apple either boost the battery capacity without making the phone physically bigger, or maybe just optimize the internal layout better.
Interesting. Any numbers being thrown around?
Well, adding to this, some supply chain leaks are hinting at a battery capacity potentially exceeding 5,000 mAh.
Wow, over 5,000. That's a significant number for an iPhone.
It really is. That could translate to a very noticeable difference in how long the phone lasts on a single charge for you.
Okay, that's huge. All right, let's pivot now. Let's talk about the other phone generating a lot of buzz, the iPhone 17 Air. The defining thing here is that ultra-thin design we keep hearing about, right?
Exactly. That seems to be its whole reason for being, almost. The iPhone 17 Air is rumored to be incredibly slim. We're talking around just 5.5 millimeters in thickness.
5.5 millimeters.
Yeah. The information we've seen specifically calls it one of the slimmest iPhones ever. That's a real push for, sleekness and a lightweight feel.
5.5 millimeter, that sounds almost impossibly thin. Like, put that into context for us. How does that compare to, say, current iPhones?
Yeah, to give you a clearer picture, one source points out that the iPhone 16 Pro Max, for instance, is about 8.25 millimeters thick.
Okay, 8.25.
So the 5.5 millimeter of this rumored iPhone 17 Air would be roughly 30% thinner.
30%. Wow.
Yeah, that's a substantial difference. You'd likely feel that immediately in your hand or in your pocket.
You definitely would. You'd barely notice it in your pocket, maybe. But okay, getting that thin. That must come with some trade-offs, right? How are they potentially making it so incredibly slim?
That's the key question, isn't it? And the main theory is to achieve that ultra-slim form factor, the iPhone 17 Air might be doing away with the physical SIM card slot entirely.
No physical SIM at all.
That seems to be the strong rumor.
That's a pretty significant change for a lot of people.
It is, yeah. And the article we looked at, it connects this directly to Apple's, quote, broader push toward eSIM technology.
Okay. Makes sense in that context.
By getting rid of the physical SIM tray, they free up precious internal space, which helps contribute to that overall sleek design. It definitely aligns with the trend we're seeing across the industry towards embedded SIMs.
It's a remarkably thin phone, potentially, in exchange for going fully eSIM. It'll be really interesting to see how consumers react to that, especially maybe in regions where eSIM adoption isn't quite as widespread yet.
Absolutely. That could be a factor.
Okay. So as we piece all this information together from these early rumors, what are the main takeaways? What's the big picture?
Well, looking first at the iPhone 17 Pro Max, it really is shaping up to potentially be quite a compelling major upgrade, just like our source suggests.
Right.
We're seeing potential advancements in design, maybe that a hybrid back, a significantly enhanced camera system, those consistent sensors, the big zoom.
Yeah, the camera sounds huge.
Definitely. Then there's the powerful next-gen chip promising better performance and efficiency, and that really exciting prospect of improved battery life, maybe thanks to that new silicon carbon tech.
It definitely sounds like it's aiming to be a top-tier, do-everything smartphone experience. And what about the overall message from the iPhone 17 Air? What does that tell us?
Well, it seems like both phones really,
Yeah.
in their own distinct ways, kind of reflect Apple's commitment to continuing to push the boundaries of smartphone technology. The Pro Max is clearly focused on delivering like peak performance, cutting-edge features. But the Air is really pushing the limits of industrial design with that incredibly thin profile. It likely appeals to a different set of priorities for consumers, form over maybe some function, potentially.
Yeah, it's like they're potentially offering two very different flagship experiences targeting different desires. So final thoughts as we wrap up this deep dive. Is the iPhone 17 Pro Max shaping up to be the standout device of 2025?
Well, it's crucial to remember this is all based on rumors, right?
Of course, yeah.
Grain of salt territory.
Definitely. Official details, pricing, release dates, that's all still pending. But based on what's being discussed, the iPhone 17 Pro Max certainly has the potential to be one of the most highly anticipated and, exciting smartphone launches of 2025, as our source material concludes. That combination of rumored high-end features is definitely generating a lot of buzz already.
Well, this has been a truly fascinating glimpse into the potential future of the iPhone. Now, for you listening, here's something to think about. With all these rumored advancements we've talked through, from that incredible camera zoom to the remarkably thin design of the Air, which single feature is the most compelling to you? And, maybe more importantly, why? What does that specific feature tell you about what you value most in your smartphone today? It really makes you think about how these technologies might fit into our daily lives, doesn't it?